Hey everybody, welcome to the Everything Paranormal Show. I'm your host, Josh Morris, and tonight we're going to be talking about storming Area 51, the truth behind the agenda, and of course, as always, you are able to interact with this show. And joining me tonight, I have a very special guest, Big Rich from The Big Show and The Conspiracy Corner show. Big Rich, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, man? It's thanks for having me on. First off,
Well, thank you.
it's kind of weird being in the passengers. I'm usually doing the interviewing, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, just for some of the viewers on my channel that may not know you, why don't you tell me a little bit, me and the viewers out there, a little bit about yourself?
Well, in a nutshell, I like to call myself a modern day philosopher. I'm a truth seeker, and I've been that way my entire life since I was a kid. I've always had some type of paranormal in my life, or just an adventurous side. So through the years, I've worn multiple hats as far as businesses that I've owned or just in the workplace itself.
Right.
And just recently, I've always, I'm a publisher. I also write. I've never had anything published on that end, but I did own a newspaper in Memphis for several years. So I kind of wanted to get my word out, and I wanted to do a podcast, and I didn't want to just strictly do paranormal or cryptid, fringe. I want to do everything that encompasses that, as well as touch on conspiracy theories. So I started a channel 2 months ago. It's really doing well. People have reached out to me. I've met you through it. And I'm just excited, and that's a little bit about me.
Nice. Well, no, I mean, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that you have that type of diverse background, and all those type of things really help when you're investigating and theorizing and doing all those things for sure. So tonight, of course, Big Rich, we're going to be talking about storming Area 51, the truth behind the agenda, of course, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, all those things. And of course, so let's look at a little bit of history, a little bit of facts, I guess you'd say. Okay. So basically, how this all came about was back in June 27th, so a little over a month ago, California resident by the name of Maddie Roberts created a Facebook event, and it was titled Storming Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us. And of course, they had like the whole motto of the motto was basically like, hey, we can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens. So that's been kind of their motto. Now, of course, since then, the creator of the event, Maddie Roberts, has said, yeah, it was pretty much like a joke, but it's created a life of its own. It really took off. It struck a chord with people. So this has become a huge talked about event. So this has created a lot of different controversies in a way. So I guess the first thing I'd like to dive into is exactly that it created this type of controversy or these type of things that we're talking about. So when people say things, okay, now I want to go back to just to remind people of something like, for example, for some of you youngsters out there that don't remember Johnny Carson, he's kind of like Jimmy Fallon, right? He was like the late night show host back in the day. Well, Johnny Carson, being a celebrity personnel is that? Anyways, for him being a TV celebrity, he was joking one night and joked about a national toilet paper shortage. Well, there really wasn't a national toilet paper shortage, but after he joked about it, people actually panicked and went to the store the next day, and they started clearing shelves. You know what I mean? So it's the power of media sometimes with saying things and then creating sometimes almost negative things. Where do you fall in line with something like that? What's your feelings on that?
Power of suggestion, right? The power of media. I think when somebody does what this guy did as a joke, I get it. He's having fun. He's probably in some kind of UFO group, and he's like, "Hey, let's see if we can, see what people say about this." And he's not the first one to come up with this idea. I'm gonna let you know right now. There's people that have had the idea of storming Area 51 for the last 10 or 15 years. Just no one put it up on the internet and it went viral.
Right.
You got to kind of be careful nowadays. Social media is the most powerful tool that we wield on the internet. And, everyone is on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blogspot, websites, we're all over the place on the internet now. So what started out as a guy playing with matches, it turned into a super brush fire.
Right.
And, it went from a couple thousand to a couple 100,000 to 1 million to 2 million to almost 3 million. By the time they're getting ready to storm this place, it'll probably be upwards 5 or 6 million people. So this is a perfect scenario of sometimes you got to watch what you say, because now not only what he did by starting it, the media has grabbed it. There is not, there's not a channel on TV or a page on the internet that you don't click and you see something about Area 51 being stormed September 20th.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's everywhere, and so there's a reason for that too. This didn't just blow up and then blow up and then super blow up for nothing. There is a purpose behind it, and we can get to that later.
Oh, yeah. And, and even kind of talking a little bit about what you said with the power of media and everything, and I know you're a big proponent for freedom of speech, just like I am. I do think we should have that freedom of speech. But at the same time, it's like you got to be careful, especially when you may be in that position, like even YouTube, like us, and influencers and things like that, being careful of what you say, because it can be a powerful tool. And yeah, you might be saying it, but what I wanted to actually touch on what you were saying is that, yes, you're right. There was other people saying this. I think what it is a matter of timing also. 10, 15 years ago, social media maybe wasn't as, people didn't hang on everything with social media. Nowadays, everybody's hanging on everybody's words on social media. And we just had the release of those Navy pilots. Remember the Navy pilots? They released and that was like a big thing recently. So I think just with the timing, everybody's interest is starting to shift back to aliens lately. So I think it was just good timing with his deal. So now let's look at some scenarios with this. All right, now let's look at the actual idea, right? Because this idea of storming Area 51 and this and that, there's a reality to it. There's like a real cost to this. So let's start with maybe the reality, all right? Or well, no, I don't want to do reality let's not do reality yet. I'm like let's not do it yet. Let's do the optimal scenario. Let's say this guy got his dream and everything played out the way he wants. What do you think that would look like, Mr. Rich?
Now, what it would look like as far as the outcome, the aftermath, or what they would find?
Well, let's play the big scenario of everything goes great, his expectations are met. How does the events fold out that day?
Well, there is no positive scenario in this. I mean,
this is why this is hypothetical.
Right, all right. So, even if we theorize that they did get through,
right,
there would be a massive casualties. Okay? So, first we got to think about that. Even if he is successful, it's still a failure because there would have been bloodshed. There'll be bloodshed if they cross over. I mean, point blank. So, but let's just say they did. We have that to be concerned with. Then what they're going to run across for miles upon miles are airstrips and hangars that are full with not UFOs and not aliens, but the more modern tech. I mean, because we're 20 years past the black planes. What I call black planes are the stealth mode planes, stealth choppers, things of that sort. So they'll be running probably past some hangars, going, "Hey, wait, that looks kind of cool, but it's not a UFO."
Right.
Boom, 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 boom. Keep running. And then they might find an office building. And if they went inside of it, there's probably some secretaries.
Right.
And then they're going to go, "All right, where's the UFOs? Where's the aliens?" They're going to look at them like, "Well, we don't know what you're talking about." Because everything is underground.
Wait, is this what you would also like to, like, what would be your ideal scenario from this? Like, what do you secretly hope to see at the end of this event?
Everyone is in one piece, and that maybe we don't actually storm it, but it puts us that much closer to full disclosure by the government.
Right. Okay.
You see? That's what I see. If anything, because, you've got to look at it like this. If let's say there's 5 million people that have agreed to go to this thing, okay?
Right.
There's probably another 2 million that are going to go that never even signed anything because they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to put my name on anything, but I'll show up." You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's just say 7 million people plan on going to this event. If only 1% of them go, that's 70,000 people. 70,000 people, then that can cause a ruckus.
Oh, yeah.
And even if so there's going to be something going on, whether the towns are being partied to death or they're going to brothels out in the desert. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. Aliens and hookers. God. Now, let me ask you, since you talked about the ruckus. So let's go with let's further your scenario just a little bit. So you got 70,000 people out in Desert Woodstock, and so what do you think would be the catalyst to just get them to actually start marching in? Do you think there's that point, or do you think or will there be a point? If there's a point, you think it's going to be like one guy just all of a sudden be like, "Let's go," or pull out the bullhorn and be like, "Let's go, man," or what do you think the catalyst might be?
When that last keg is tapped. No, all seriousness.
Yeah, no.
It's going to be the guy who's a little wily, let's go get him. Probably has 2 or 3 bullhorns, one in his back pocket, one in each hand.
Yeah.
And he's going to haphazardly take about 10,000 with him. Then you're going to have about 20 or 30,000 that actually got together and been prepping, and they've actually got a plan laid out.
Right.
So they'll probably, 1,000 this way, 1,000 over here, you guys on the mountain ridge, blah, 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 So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know this: if they're using drones as well, if they're distracting them on the ground, you could have 2,000 or 3,000 people up there with drones, just flying drones all over, kind of giving people ideas where to go.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. See, look at this. The power of media. God, here comes the FBI on your door and stuff. I see you see me in chat says laugh out loud at hashtag Desert Woodstock. Yeah. See, and here's my let me tell you my little thing. Okay, this is not going to happen, but this is what I would love to see. Okay. So thousands of people show up, and it's time. Like thousands of people show up, and there's nobody at the gate. Okay, they go to the main gate, and nobody there. What the heck? So they're like hanging out, a little nervous. They don't know what to think, and the camo dudes are not even there. And that's what all the people that stalk Area 51. That's what they call the armed guards out there, or the guards out there, the civilian contractors. They call them the camo dudes, right? Yeah. So let's say the camo dudes aren't even there. And they're like, what the heck? So finally they get the balls to do it. So they start marching through the gate. Nothing happens. They go down the road. I think there's another gate once you get to the mountain and trench valley area, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, they get to the next gate. Nothing there. Gate's open. What the hell? So everybody marches through and they go on to base. I think the most hilarious scenario, I would love it if the government staged like a hangar with some fake UFOs, put some Air Force dudes in lab coats, and had like dissecting some aliens, you know what I mean? And then people walk in and they're YouTubing it, you know, the government's YouTubing it. Now that would be freaking hilarious.
That'd be good.
That would be just. But I know that's not going to happen because the military won't let the people that deep onto the base anyways. But but I think that would be, my own personal comedic scenario in that sense. So, but yeah, I mean, so now, speaking of which, what do you think that the military's response may be? Do you think we're going to see a lot of them hype up their guards the 20th or maybe even some days before that? Because I think you're going to get maybe a few people might start showing up and camping out.
You know, if anything, they'll probably call on the National Guard first. And with them pulling in the National Guard, they'll probably have state patrol, sheriffs, things of that sort, showing up first in the towns and around the back dirt roads. Because honestly, they've only got probably 4 or 5 patrol cars that patrol that area at any given time. But they do have cameras everywhere, and they do have these detectors that detect metal, and it triggers anytime metal, plastic, or rubber goes by on a road that's even close to it. It triggers, and I'm sure there's some guy sitting in a room full of cameras, and he's over in Sector 5732. It's not a jackrabbit this time. Right. Got two guys on black motorcycles, red helmet, and then they drive on out there and, hey guys, what you up to? I've never seen any of those go violent. I've seen a couple of the guys act really stern. Because, you got people that ride up there all the time and get too close.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering, I'm curious to know, if I wonder if people start to show up, I'm wondering if they're going to, because I kind of wonder if they're going to want, it's out in the desert, I mean, there's not going to be conveniences for people out there at all. And getting off the little roads there and things like that, you got to pretty much have that 4-wheeling vehicle and everything else. So I'm just curious to see how those logistics will play out. But also, I wonder if the military is going to maybe try to have some visual deterrence, like bringing in a tank just to sit up on top of the hill, one little tank, sitting up there just saying, hey, you might want to not think about this today. Maybe a few more trucks out there, and I don't know. I'm just wondering if their visual presence, if they're going to step up something visually, so people maybe at a distance, maybe not right at the gate. I don't know. I mean, I would think, because I know that you get a group of people right there at the gate, you're going to get a lot of smart asses trying to step right through that little gate and concrete barrier. You know what I'm talking about right there, and just try to thumb their nose, so to speak.
I could see it happening right now. And
yeah. That's what I'm saying. They got the beach ball going. It's going to get hit over there onto the property, and maybe some automatic machine gun turrets pop up and shoot it. I don't know. All right, so just to kind of give you an idea, one of the quotes from the Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada, she said that storming any kind of Department of Defense facility is not safe. It's not safe for those who are guarding it. It's not safe for what we're protecting inside. So that's interesting. And then as far as quotes, we go higher up, and the official spokesman said that the Nevada Test and Training Range provides flexible, realistic, and multi-dimensional battle space to test and develop tactics, as well as conduct advanced training in support of U.S. national interests. Any attempt to illegally access the area is highly discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
Highly discouraged. That's an interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
So, highly discouraged. So yeah, that, for some reason, a subtle threat like that is very scary to me.
Yeah. Well, you just took me back to about 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
And my mother scolded me. That's something she would have said.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have said lethal force will be used or something, it's like you almost want to rebel in a way, just because. But when they just say something as subtle as, what is it? What did I just say? I don't want to mess this up. Highly discouraged. Mm-hmm. So that's scary to me in a way. It's like, I don't know. You just picture that person looking over their glasses at you. You know what I mean? When they that over your, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
that's funny.
So now let's look at let's pull away from the idea of, because I think storming 51, we both sounds like we agree it's going to be kind of a dumb idea, and we'll talk a little more maybe, I'm sure, about a few of those. So let's talk about actual secrets. Okay, the base itself. Of course, the government for years, of course, said like, hey, this doesn't exist, or they didn't even acknowledge the base. And then they finally acknowledged it, and they said, yeah, we're testing advanced planes and stuff there. So, makes sense, whatever. But do you think that it's a misdirection? Do you think that there's other areas that's conducting more stuff? I mean, what's your take on that?
Oh, yeah, there's other MyLabs or other DUMs in that specific vicinity that will actually have what the people are looking for. Area 51, man, and I'm telling you, I researched Area 51 hard for about a 2-year period. And when I say research, I'm talking about I read books, I studied, I listened, I absorbed everything that I could about it. And the bottom line is that is pretty much a test facility for new aircraft. And whether we're reverse engineering the UFOs there, which I do believe is happening, that's the extent of our alien, or let's say alien type technology, or interdimensional technology, depending on your views or how you look at aliens.
I mean, do you think some of our technology has been reverse engineered from aliens, or has it had just been our own natural progression of technological advances?
No, it's definitely something intervened for sure. Now, what it is, I can't say for sure, whether it be the aliens or another type of force, or if somebody went back in time or went in the future, or, I don't know what it is, but I do know this. From 1950 to 2020 is only 70 years. And look where man has advanced in those 70 years. And then you look at the prior 2,000 to 4,000 years.
Right.
Okay? We didn't become that much smarter overnight. If anything, we're actually probably a lot stupider than we used to be.
I think that might be by design, but
right. No, yeah, it's absolutely by design. Oh, conspiracy corner.
Yeah. That's another topic. Why we are more stupid than before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm so reliant on technology. It's like I can remember my childhood phone numbers because we had to. We had to memorize everything back then. Now it's like I forget everybody's numbers, and and in fact, ICU see me in the chat says, I agree, something did intervene for us to get this far ahead so fast in technology. It was a short time between a room-sized mainframe computer to microcomputers. So excellent point. Excellent point. You guys are both spot on that. There may have been something. I will agree. So that also kind of brings me up to another point. There's been a lot of talk, and I don't want to get too far away from Area 51, but I felt like it's worth mentioning Antarctica. Okay? Yeah. There's been a lot of conspiracies, I guess you'd say, or cover-up style stuff. A lot of mystery behind Antarctica, and there's a lot of people that believe it could be alien stuff down there, and then of course your flat earthers say it could be the edge of the earth. But there's something going on with Antarctica. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, no matter what it is, if whatever sect is correct on, if it's the edge of the world, or if it's alien technology, or if it's a portion of Atlantis. Uh, you know, there's a thousand different theories. There is one common thing, though, is they don't tell us a lot about it. We're not allowed to settle there, and there's three dates that really come to mind when I think of Antarctica, and there's three or four separate things. You know, NATO's formed, the Antarctica Treaty is signed, and then NASA is formed. And they were all formed around the same time by the same people. So it makes you go,
Oh yeah.
what is down there? There was an article in the paper, and this is a fact, and it was on national news as well. They just found, after all these years, a secret base in the Arctic, not Antarctica, but in the Arctic. They're saying they use it as a weather station. Nah, that usually means that they found some more tech.
Right. Right.
But no, Antarctica definitely. There's a mystery that's shrouding it right now. We wouldn't have had all the officials go down there from 2012 to 2018. When you've got the Russian Pope going down there, and then we have Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Alrighty then.
Alrighty, I'm going to Antarctica. Whoever.
Come on.
What's that guy's name, man? Because I don't even follow politicians really. Kerry.
Global
warming.
Wasn't it was John Kerry.
Yeah, John Kerry was down there.
Right.
Of all people, Buzz Aldrin. What's he doing down there?
Well, he came back and he was messed up. He was mentally messed up when he came back for a little bit.
Yeah, he sent that tweet out of the 3 pyramid tips.
Yeah.
Which they call. There's an actual term for those type of mountaintops that are in snow-capped areas.
Right.
I think they're called primordial.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Mountains, but nonetheless, they look like pyramids to me.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his exact tweet and the exact quote, but I did have it on my show 2 months ago when I first started, where I quoted him saying that. He said, basically, like, we should be fearing for our lives. It's evil itself.
Yeah.
Whoa, what did he see?
Right. I mean, it's not just that picture. He saw more than just the picture. And you know as well as I do that you visually, like I said, a picture doesn't do anything justice hardly. Like, when you see stuff, it's like, because people will look at your picture and say, well, you could have, no. When you're there in person, and it's a whole different experience. And so anyways, but bringing it back to Area 51, from the freezing Antarctica. So let me ask you this. I mean, do you think we've had more than just, like, say, one, like, alien space wreck or something? Do you think there's multiple alien bodies, or sort of speak? I mean, have they been sort of snagging multiple aliens? I mean, how many aliens do you think that the government may have recovered or something? I mean, what's your theories on that?
Okay. I'll start it with this real quick, and I'll make it brief. We've been collecting or stumbling across ancient technologies here in the Americas since around, the early 1800s or mid 1800s. But something documented, and people say they can't find it on the internet anymore. But in 1909, the cavalry was chasing some Mexican bandits in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I don't know if you ever heard that story.
No, I don't think I have.
And the bandits happened into this cavern up in the mountains, and they were hiding in this cave. And when the cavalry found them in there, they were just basically all, like, in shock, and just basically turned themselves in and were praying. And supposedly when they took the notes of the soldiers, they said they saw what looked like horseshoe type of, metal, giant horseshoes that were levitating off the ground, and little demons is what they called them. It was little short demon men.
Huh.
And so, and then this is a story, and I think even Phil Schneider had brought it up in one of his deals as well. But Phil Schneider being the guy from Dulce, New Mexico, which is another show in itself, I guess.
Right.
But so back to that, and then we even had an incident prior to Roswell. Do you remember the Battle for Los Angeles,
I've heard of it.
or the Los Angeles air raid?
Yeah, I've heard of
I
that.
mean, that was right after Pearl Harbor had happened. So we had our coast lined up with artillery, and you know, up and down through L.A., San Diego. I mean, we were on high alert,
Right.
and supposedly some unidentified spacecraft or flying objects, planes, came across, got too close. Everyone started, firing away, and there's actual pictures of this, and some of those look like flying discs, where these artillery shells are just bouncing off it,
Right.
and they've got spotlights on it. So, yeah, we've been dealing with aliens and coming across tech. They tell us Roswell, but no, it's well before that, and there's been probably numerous times since then.
I mean, do you think that they actually have aliens in Area 51? Do you think they're there?
No. And if there is an alien and they are helping, maybe one or two, but they're not doing all all that other kind of stuff that we're thinking about when we think aliens and we're going to stumble across. That's happening all across. There's other bunkers, there's other MyLabs across the country. To be exact, there are 105 confirmed black budget DUMBs or MyLabs in the U.S. alone, and every state has one.
Interesting. I've never heard the numbers, so that's interesting to me.
Right.
I never specialized in the alien side of paranormal. I've always focused more on ghosts and the ghost side of things and demons and the biblical side of stuff. I've never really got too much in it. I mean, I've always been fascinated. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I've always enjoyed like galactic space and aliens and things like that. So I was always enjoyed it. I just never truly started digging, like truth seeking in the alien category. So a lot of this is interesting for me too, because again, I'm a big fan of paranormal, and a lot of this to me is all paranormal because it's above normal. This stuff's paranormal to me. So I think it's really cool.
I agree with you on that. Everything is paranormal. If it's not norm, and whether it be spirits, ghosts, demons, or if they want to say aliens, giants, Bigfoot, chupacabra, cloning, it's all paranormal. So.
Oh yeah, it's not the normal everyday, white picket fence stuff we deal with. So now I do like on social media, I do like to post questions out there and theories, and I've posted a few on aliens, and I think with a lot of the communities that I'm involved in, and if anybody's watching, they'll of course recognize me and Rich probably, but I think a majority, I don't even have a percentage, I probably should have taken a poll, but a majority, I want to say, of responses were just like, people are dumb, people are stupid for doing this, it's weeding out the stupid people and thinning the herd, and I saw a lot of that. That seemed to be a big overall responses, and of course it was mixed in with some people that were like, yeah man, let's do this, or like, hey, let's get the government, I think there was some mixed answers in there. So it's definitely caused a lot of people to react, let's just put it that way. Now I do believe that even those people that were saying, they're stupid, whatever, it's like that same effect when they're just sitting there going, like, hey, do you think we should go? And they're like, yeah, or no, I don't think you should go. Meanwhile, they're shaking their head, yes. It's like a train wreck. You don't want to stare, but you can't look away. So I think these people, even though they're calling them dumb, they're still sitting back there in their armchairs watching, going, okay, go do it so I can see. There's still that fascination, and it struck that chord with people. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm excited for it just to kind of see all the responses for things. I mean, how do you feel about the event overall coming up? Are you excited, nervous, uh,
Oh man,
angry, not happy?
no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not even I'm not moved by it, because I look at it in a totally different way than everyone else. I'm hoping that it does maybe bring us a little closer, like I said earlier, to full disclosure.
Right.
Not this soft disclosure we've been seeing lately. If anything positive does come out of it, I'm hoping it is that. But what I honestly believe, and this is my heart of hearts, and I don't know if you're ready for me to share this, but here we go. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all right.
The truth behind the agenda is this started out as a joke. The media caught on, and then the government caught on, and this is just my theory. And the government was like, man, they kind of control the regular media, don't they? So they're like, help push this. We want to see how many people will get that would actually be a part or they subject themselves to this. And I think all these people, it's kind of like an easy way of them making another list of, when the poop goes down, we can list these people in this basket here because we know that they'll rebel or they'll, da 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 da. So by
Right.
signing up for that, you're actually putting yourself on a list the government's going to store somewhere that says problem child.
Right. Well, so
And that's how I feel about
you
it.
think of it more like a data gathering event.
Sure, what started out as a meme or a joke
Right.
has now become a government data sink, a data collect. And if you think otherwise, well, there wouldn't be close to 3 million people signed up.
Right. And
You know,
you can look at even countries like China where they're going to that whole totalitarian system where they're basically forcing everybody, that social system. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like you do one thing wrong, it's like you can't get a loan, you can't ride the bus, or you have to ride the bus, you can't ride the train, you can't take a flight.
yep.
It's very, very controlled, and they're doing that to us now, but in a different way.
hmm
And of course, they're starting to condition us by all these shopping cards and all this stuff, and reward cards and facial tracking in the stores and stuff. That's how they're conditioning us over here in the States. But that's again another
Right.
topic for another show. But I think yes, some of that
I
all
would
goes
love to
hand in
do a
hand.
show on conditioning.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, certainly,
Well, I
like I
mean, it's there.
said,
It's been there since TV's made its inception to America.
yeah,
And I don't know if you've ever seen that video. Like, remember before TV would go off back in the days, they would play a song, they would fly the American flag, and then your TV would just go to all black and white and just be like,
oh
shh.
yeah,
But while they were playing the song, in between it, they were subliminally flashing words like obey, you know, obey,
right.
obey your government, da 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 da. And it's proven, there's footage of it as well, still floating
Well,
around.
and even just some of the agendas in a lot of the TV shows. There's so many things you could go into when you look at social media and how they've tried to condition us over the years and
hmm
technology, and I mean there's definitely a whole issue about that. So guess what, folks? Tune in to Big Rich's show, The Conspiracy Corner, right? The Conspiracy Corner show, because guess what? He'll be covering a lot of those conspiracy stuff all the time, and even on the big show, he talks about a lot of things as well. So I just thought I'd throw a plug in there for you.
Hey, appreciate that. Yeah, the big show is everything paranormal. We actually got a show getting ready to come out here. I'll just do a real quick self plug.
Yeah, yeah.
It's about
I was gonna tell you. I was
uh,
gonna tell you. Let them know what you got going on coming up.
it's an unconfirmed serial killer called the OKC Butcher from the 70s, and it kind of ties into multiple other cases. And we did some research on that, and we actually got that show recorded. It just needs to be edited and uploaded. And we've got a lot of other good stuff. I mean, we do paranormal, alien stuff. We've had uh, and stuff. You know, just all you can think about. And we've also got a top five with my uncle Cletus.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Uncle Cletus, what do you? What I mean, you know your uncle best. What would he? What is his take on aliens?
Well, um, Uncle Cletus is a true believer, and he's so much a believer. He's already got his plans laid out and the schematics drawn up for when we can do space travel from here to the Moon Titan, because he wants to open them a little moonshine racket.
Nice. Literal moonshine.
That's right. That's right.
Folks, if you have not seen Uncle Cletus, if you've not seen any of his shows, you got to go check out an Uncle Cletus show. It's hilarious. I thoroughly enjoy. I enjoy Big Rich's stuff in general. His other shows as well, and his uncle is, like I said, hilarious. So definitely go check that out for sure. And I was even digging a little bit of the show with when you were talking a little bit about the vortexes and stuff, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and some of the whirlpools and things. I was checking some of that stuff out. I think that's all pretty neat. So,
Hmm.
let me ask you a question. I like to ask this of all guests at some point in the show.
Okay.
This has always been my little thing: is if you could pick one day in time to go to travel back to and just observe, like if you're a ghost, so you can't interact, you can't change history. I'm just saying, if you just go back for one day in time, what would it be and why?
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Now I know the common answer, and my heart wants to say ancient times and biblical times, but the truth seeker and me, because I already know the truth, the Lord. So on that end, but the truth seeker in me, and I would want to go and be able to sit back and see Tesla at work, and especially when he is coming across or figuring out energy without having to use wires.
Right, right.
So,
That's a good
um,
one.
yeah, I would love to be there. You know why? Because it would confirm it.
Right.
Um, the man was brilliant, and yeah.
No, I think that's a good one because Tesla was so crucial
Hmm.
to a lot of things in our history. Like, and he didn't quite always get that credit. And there's so much. I mean, you could do an entire deal on Tesla
Oh,
alone
sorry.
because of everything.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the man was
Well,
amazing.
he was close to at one point, and I'm going to say probably did break through the barrier of anti gravity. So,
Right.
and also he was a firm believer in trying to parallel shift through parallel universes.
Right.
So he was that. I mean, his brain. I mean, the man. He saw numbers and thought numbers, and when he wrote, or designed, it was all in numbers. So the guy was just, brilliant.
Oh yeah, and I think see, for me, my standard answer always is like a day of going back. Right, was as they're finishing building the pyramids. I fe-
Oh yeah.
I just really feel like if you could just see how they were constructing some of the hard parts of the pyramids right there, but just to see, were they using giants? Perhaps did the Egyptians, that was around those times, supposedly, if you go back about 5,000 years, that would have been about the time when there was giants around, and the use of giants. If they enslaved some giants to do, I mean, a couple giants could easily or lift those 2 to 3 ton blocks that they were building the pyramids with on the outer areas and stuff like that. So, but just to see, I guess, some of that extreme mystery may lock in so many other things. I think, to me, that's a crucial point in our history. So that's always my standard answer on every time I do this. But I think that was a great answer with Tesla. I think that's very cool because that also, to me, just like you were saying, Tesla was definitely an enigma, and he was a unique person in our history. But what I think what was cool about him versus some of these other scientists that were brilliant in a different way is, they were very much theorists in a way, whereas like he actually could take these things and was actually creating things that did work, or you know what I mean, they weren't just amazing theories. These were things that actually were practical too.
And they were coming to fruition. And they and when he put it to paper and built it or designed it, it was working. You know, I was just talking to a friend a couple weeks ago, and I said, if you take these people that they force fed us now as the new wave geniuses, Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson, you set them in the same room with Nikola Tesla, and you watch them get laughed right out of that room probably in 30 seconds by Tesla.
Right.
You know, because those guys think they're so brilliant, but all they're doing is leaning their beliefs on another man's work.
Right.
What have those two actually, done? Nothing.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, and again, a lot of it is they're very much non-creationists. They're big bang. They're scientists. They're going to be against God, and that's always rough for me. Whenever you're against God, I'm sorry, but that's not for me. You know what I mean? So,
and I'm with you, brother. But I am accepting. I will still deal with people that are not about God, but
yeah, I mean, that's their beliefs. I respect that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, okay, just to kind of come back to Area 51 as we get near to wrapping up the show, I'm going to throw something out there for everybody watching. This is your chance. If you have any questions that you want to throw at Big Rich or myself, go ahead and start getting them in the chat as we start to near the end of the show. But one thing I want to go back to Area 51 is just some final thoughts from each of us and everything. I think for me, I think we're going to see people show up. We're going to see it. I think in today's society, we're going to have people show up and they're going to YouTube it. They're going to go out there. They're going to film it. People are going to eat it up. They're going to watch them go out there. And I think that, to me, I would almost suspect they're going to probably get the local sheriffs involved in the beginning. As people start to show up, they may try to get them to run them off. But then again, they'll probably come in some convoys at some point, and it's going to be tough. The crowd will build. And then I think we'll see the military security escalate a little bit, just visually, And then who knows? At this point, I don't know. I do fear, like you were talking about, but I'll let you do some more final thoughts here. But I do fear that, somebody might try to do something and convince other people. I really hope that this really just turns into like hashtag Desert Woodstock. It would be nice if it just was something like that, and the military just kind of let them party it out a little bit, and then they go, man, we're out in the desert. There's nowhere to poop, so I need to go back into town. So
I would be out like the first 3 hours. I'm like, guys, I gotta go.
Right, right. I'm out, man. See, it's been fun. I showed up. I filmed my YouTube show. I'm good. See ya. But yeah, I just don't want to see any bloodshed. And if there is, I can't blame the military, because we have national secrets in there, and it may not even be alien related. But we have secrets for a reason, and it's not always just, but it's also for the countries. So foreign countries do not see this new technology we're working on. I mean, we want to have a leg up on other countries so we can always defend ourselves better, in the future. I do believe that. But anytime that you test, this is kind of my last little bit of final thought on this too, is anytime that you test, like, I was involved when I was in the military, years ago. I was in the test wing, but I was down in Eglin Air Force Base, and I can't talk about the things that we did. So that right there, people are always going to say, oh, Josh was in the test wing, and he was in testing, and he can't tell me what they did, so I wonder what he saw. He must saw some, you know what I mean? And there's always going to have that element of mystery. But in all honesty, if I told you about the test that we did, which I can't, but if I did, you'd probably be bored. There probably really wouldn't be all that exciting to you.
Right.
Now, of course, in a super secret black budget base, who knows? The stories might be a little more interesting, but I don't know. So, I mean, what's some of your thoughts?
Well, my closing thoughts. This is how I honestly see it going down. This is my honest view on it. People are going to show up, like you said. We're probably going to use a couple thousand National Guards with whatever sheriffs and whatever drones and things of that sort they have on premise. And here's how they're going to make people think twice. It's not going to be tanks rolling out there. I'd say about every half hour on every hour, they're going to fly a group of 4 to 6 Blackhawks, choppers, in synchronicity, over all the groups of the people. And they're going to be like, oh.
Or you see a couple of Apaches come up over the hill.
Yeah, yeah. and along with, Apaches or whatever else they have out there. And
I'd be like, I don't need to go to town now. I just went ahead and filled this hole over here.
Yeah. So, if any storming gets done, it's going to be by the drunks and the idiots. I think it's going to be a desert Woodstock. The little alien place is probably going to make a killing. They'll probably make their next 40 years worth of revenue.
Right.
In 2 or 3 days. And there's several other businesses around that area that they're going to benefit from it. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody does get hurt, here's my only thing. The guy who started this, is he going to be held liable in any way? Is he going to be held accountable? Will the government be paying him a visit and say, look what you started?
Yeah. I'd hate to have that on my conscience.
This blood is on your hands now.
Yeah.
And the American people want answers.
Well, at least
would be, don't be stupid.
At least your drone idea that you had, if people took your drone idea and ran with it, at least if anything, they would just lose some expensive drones.
Right.
and half the time they're not even that expensive anymore. But I think we have a ICU see me said, I think it's really sad though. I think mostly what they want is disclosure. People deserve to know that they aren't crazy for believing something they know to be real.
Okay.
And she also did also say that your answer for Tesla was very interesting. She thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. I'm a seeker of truth. I want to know the truth because he had inventions for electric cars back in that time.
Yeah.
So think, but that would have just crippled the oil industry, and they couldn't have that. Too many billions and zillions and trillions to be made.
Yeah.
But I hope it goes well, and I won't be out there. I'll be watching at a safe distance, and maybe we'll do a recap when you come on my show about what happened on it.
Right.
On this day.
Well, listen, I do want to definitely want to thank you for coming on to my show. I had a lot of fun tonight. It was a blast, man.
I enjoyed myself, man. I mean, the pleasure is all mine.
I think it exceeded my expectations. I wasn't sure, but I think I had a lot of fun tonight. It was definitely a pleasure. Hopefully, for those of you watching, again, make sure you go subscribe to his YouTube. He has Facebook, BRRS Media. So he definitely look him up. He's out there. And the man's doing some really good stuff, and he's falls a lot in line with my beliefs as well when it comes to paranormal and religion and all these type of things. We have a lot of things in common, so I think that's awesome, and it's a really good show. Also, don't forget, for those of you watching this video, if you haven't subscribed to me, make sure you subscribe to me also, and hit that notification bell so you know when I go live, because again, I do go live because I like to make sure that you guys can be interactive, as people like ICU See Me, who shows up and she interacts with my show just like a few other people that normally show up too. So don't be
Awesome.
afraid. Come in here. Join this discussion every week. I try to have something just about every week, guys. So again, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. And don't forget, seek the truth.
Seek the truth, brother.